Welcome back. In this video, we will learn how you can connect your Python application using any IDE to MongoDB present on the MongoDB Atlas and perform different CRUD operations on it. This is going to be a solution architecture where we will connect our Python application running on PyCharm with the MongoDB present on the MongoDB Atlas using the driver called PyMongo. Let's start creating the project. For the first step, I have logged into my MongoDB Atlas and I have already created a cluster called my cluster. So first step is to create a database within the cluster, and for that I am going to click on the cluster name, and after opening on the cluster I am going to move towards the collection tab in which I will create a dummy database. To add a database, click add my own data. Provide a database name, I am going to call it testdb, and provide a collection name, I am going to call it test, and simply click create. Okay, this will take some time, and after a while your database in the cluster will be created, and you can add documents in the cluster just like you can add documents using the MongoDB Compass. After clicking on insert document button, this is the kind of data I am going to insert. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one document and then simply clone it and change the values of attributes. So this underscore ID is the ID of the document which will be created, and I have added a field for ID, an item, price, size and quantity, and I'm simply going to click insert. After a while you will see that a document has been inserted. Now I am simply going to clone this document multiple times and then add up to 10 records, and in this way we will add multiple documents into our collection which is test, and click insert. After a while you will see that all the documents have been inserted into the test collections. Now the next step is to connect this database to our application. Since you already know that we are going to work with the Python application, so I am going to use PyCharm as the IDE for editing the Python project. You can use any other IDE that you want, but I always prefer PyCharm as it has a lot of IntelliSense and a lot of built-in modules that help in fast development of Python project. Now, after opening your PyCharm, we have to create a new project. Click on new project. And here you have to specify the project name. I am going to call it Python MongoDB. You can give any name to your project, and I'm not going to change anything else. You can change the location of the project, the location of the environment, all other things, and then simply click create button. The creation will take some time, and after a while your project will be created and will be ready to go. After the project is created, you will going to see something like this, and on the left hand side you will see these directories, and inside the main project directory you will see the main.py file having this code. Now I am going to simply run the file to see that our project has been created correctly or not. Upon executing, you will see that the text that we printed using the print command is shown on the console. This means that our project has been successfully created. Now I am going to remove all these comments, and I am going to remove all the other functions that I don't need. Okay, and then we'll start continuing the actual project. Now, in order to use the MongoDB with the PyCharm, we have to install its drivers, and for installing the MongoDB drivers I am going to move towards the terminal, and from here I will write the command pip install, and since the driver for PyCharm for MongoDB is PyMongo, so I am going to write here PyMongo. Simply click enter, and after a while your package will be imported. Here I have already installed the drivers for the MongoDB in my system, so it is not installed here, but once you are installing it for the first time, after the command your MongoDB drivers will be installed. Now we are going to import the PyMongo into our project by using import PyMongo. Okay, now the next step is to create a connection between our MongoDB database present on the Mongo Atlas and our Python application. So here we are going to create a connection by using PyMongo object dot type, and to provide the URL to our database. For that, we will move towards our MongoDB atlas, and inside the project move to connect, and then here you have different options. Select connect to your application. It will give you a connection URL. Copy it and simply paste it inside the URL area. Here you have to change the password field and provide the password that you added while creating. So I'm going to give it, and this is good to go. No, this is going to return us a client, so we are going to assign the value to a client. Okay, next we will use this client to get the DB, and here you can see that the name of the DB was test DB, so I'm going to define it here, and this is going to return us a DB object. Okay, then we are going to use this DB to get the collection, and the name of the collection is test, and we are going to store it. Okay, now after writing all these things, we are going to execute the code to see whether the code is working fine or not. Now upon executing, you can see that the process is finished with exit code 0, which means that there is no exception or no error in the code, so we can continue working forward. Now we are going to move towards insertion of data using the PyCharm into the MongoDB present inside the MongoDB atlas. Now what I'm going to do is I'll first create a function, and I'm going to call it create many or insert many, and inside it we have to add a client and documents object. I am using documents here because I am inserting many documents. If you were to insert a single document, you have to use a single document object here. Then I'm going to cut it from here and paste it inside the function. Then here what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a documents object inside which I'm going to paste 2 documents. Okay, so here I have added 2 documents containing the following data, and after that I have called the create many method, into which I am passing this client and this documents object. Now inside this method, first from this client object we will get the database name, and then from this database we are going to get the collection, and then from the collection object we are going to call the actual insert many function of the MongoDB, and inside that we are going to insert the documents object that we want to insert. Okay, after that simply click run, and you will see that our process finished with exit code 0, which means that there was no error. Now let's see whether the data has been actually inserted or not. Move towards your MongoDB atlas, go towards your cluster. Inside the cluster, go to the collections, wait for it to load, and inside your database and the collection you will see the records that you have just added are inserted successfully. Okay, so this is how you can add or you can insert multiple documents inside your MongoDB database using PyCharm. Now we will see how we can read data from MongoDB using Python. Now firstly I am going to comment these 2 statements, this one and this one, because we don't need to insert documents again. I am going to create another method which I am going to call read docs, and inside that function I'll have a client object and a condition on the basis of which we want to read the data. Okay, then let's first call the method here. First I'll pass the client, and for the condition we'll create a condition variable here. So the documents that I want to retrieve are the ones where the item is cappuccino. So here I am going to define it as item is, and here I will define the condition which is going to be grade, which is equal to cappuccino. Let me change one thing. I'm going to cut it from here and paste it right within the condition part. Okay, now within the read docs function, first I am going to copy these 2 instructions to have the DB and the collection from the client, and then for getting the results we will create a variable results and here we will use the collection object to get the find function, in which we are going to enter the condition. And for iterating inside the results, we are going to use the for loop for row in results, and we are simply going to print this result value, which is going to be the row. Now I am going to run it. Okay, so here you can see that it has displayed me 3 documents having ID 2, 6 and 9, where the item is cappuccino, and it has displayed me the price, the size and the quantity as well. And this is how you can read the documents using different conditions. Now we are going to move towards a third operation, which is to update documents present in the MongoDB database. And for that, first I am going to comment out this field because I don't want to read the data, and then I am going to create another method and call it update doc. Inside that, I am going to pass a client a condition just like reading, and in addition to these 2 parameters, I am also going to pass another parameter which is gonna be an operation. As you all know that for updation, we need to have a condition on the basis of which we filter out the documents that need to be updated, and then we define an operation which is to be performed on the selected documents. Okay, so after defining these things, I am going to copy the client in collection instructions. I am going to paste it here, and then I am going to use this collection to call the function update many, and inside this function I will insert condition and operation, and this is going to return me results. So I'm going to store it in results. After storing this in the results, we have to get the number of rows updated. So instead of iterating through the results, we will simply print results dot modified underscore count, which is going to return the number of documents that were updated as a result of execution of this particular instruction. Now we are going to call it, and for that we will move here and we will simply call update docs, into which we will pass the client. Then we have to pass the condition. I am going to update the record, for example this one, where the ID is 5, and I am going to set its price to 12. Okay, so here I am going to define the condition by saying that when ID is equal to 5, this is going to be our condition. Okay, and then we have to define the operation that when ID is equal to 5, then what it is going to do, it is going to set the price to 12. Let's execute the query and see the result. Here you can see that it has returned me 1 because I have a single document whose ID was 5 and I updated the price to 10. Now let's reload it to see the updated document. You can see now the price is changed from 10 to 12. And this is how you can update different fields of the document using the update function. Now we will move towards our final operation, which is to delete a particular document. And for that I am going to create another function. I am going to call it delete doc, and inside that I am going to pass the client a condition, but there is no need of operation because we already know that we are going to delete the document. Here once again I'll copy these commands, paste it here, and here instead of update many, I will use collections dot delete many, and inside that I will pass the condition. I am going to paste this here, and instead of modified count, I am going to change it to deleted count because we want to get the number of documents that were deleted. Now for calling the method, I am just going to comment this instruction, and I am going to call it by its name, delete doc, pass the client, and then for the instruction, let's say I want to delete the document where the ID is 5. So here I am going to define it like ID, and then I'll define it that it is equal to 5. Okay, so this function is going to delete all the documents where the ID is 5. Okay, now let's run this to see whether the document is deleted or not. It has provided me 0, but let's see whether it has deleted the document or not. Let's check it. Okay, so let's see ID 1, 2, 3, and okay, 4. Now the ID 5 object is missing, which means that it has deleted the document where ID was 5. And this is how you can use MongoDB and connect it with your Python application using PyCharm or any other IDE to use MongoDB with the Py. And this is all for this video.